Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the post Night of Champions edition of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, RingsideNews.com. You can check out NoDQ right now for Night of Champions results and all the latest post-show news. But for now, let's get down to your questions. First one from Australian Born. Hey Aaron, 2 questions for you. What was your overall thoughts on Night of Champions? And with Rollins' interference, do you see a final Lesnar vs. Cena match inside the cell at Hell in a Cell? If not, who do you see as Brock Lesnar's next opponent? Well, first off, regarding Night of Champions, I thought that it was a solid show. In terms of the wrestling, it was very good from top to bottom. Most of the matches I thought were at least average or even above average. You had Jericho and Orton. I think that was a good match, although I wasn't a fan of the build-up to that match since there was essentially no build-up. But the two of them went out there and gave it their best effort, and I thought it was a very good match. I thought the opening was good with the Usos losing the tag team titles to Cody Rhodes and Stardust. I thought that Cesaro and Sheamus was a good match. And I thought the main event with Brock Lesnar and John Cena was excellent. I thought that the two of them had a really strong match until the finish. That was an awful finish in my opinion. Essentially, John Cena had Brock Lesnar beat, but then you had Seth Rollins interfere with the briefcase and then attempt to cash it in, but John Cena stopped him from doing so, and the show just ended with Brock Lesnar leaving with the WWE title. Not a fan of this at all. I felt that it damaged Lesnar. You should have just had Brock Lesnar lose the title. I mean, what they did essentially killed Brock Lesnar in my opinion. He should not have been on the verge of losing. I was expecting some kind of screw job so John Cena would lose the match but be able to save face. Maybe Seth Rollins or somebody else could have interfered, not have a DQ, and Lesnar beat Cena at that point. But the way they did it with the DQ when Brock Lesnar was a split second from losing the title, to me that was really weak. Was not a fan of that at all. Very bad finish, and we got nothing out of that main event. I mean, we had the DQ finish, indecisive, and we didn't even get the Money in the Bank cash in. So very disappointing. That brought the show down for me a bit. I think I would give this show a thumbs in the middle overall. A lot of it due to the weak finish at the end. Everything else besides that was mostly thumbs up in my opinion. But yeah, the ending really brought down the whole show for me. Not a fan of them doing DQ finishes on a pay-per-view, especially when I don't feel that Brock Lesnar should be looking that weak. If he beat Cena, that would have been fine, but to have Cena on the verge of winning, to me that was very bad booking. Oh, and by the way, real quick before I get to the next question, regarding Lesnar and Cena at Hell in a Cell, one would think that that's the direction they're going in because the feud is unresolved at this point. We still don't have a decisive winner of the feud, so to speak. So I'm guessing they're going to do that for Hell in a Cell, although I really feel that the damage may have been done with Brock Lesnar now. Considering the fact that Cena all but had the match won. So as far as Lesnar's next opponent, if Lesnar does beat Cena, and who knows at this point, I would go Randy Orton, but we'll see where they go with that. Moving on here from LitoDat66802. What's up, Aaron? Why do you think they ended Ziggler's IC title run? I don't get why not push Ziggler. I'm sure he could get to the next level if they did. Well, this was another questionable booking decision, in my opinion. Once again, Ziggler and The Miz had a very solid match. I thought it was really good. But you had the commentary with the country guys. That was awful. And then you had Ziggler lose the IC title after only having it for a month. So what was the point of him being champion? It was just a 1-month title reign. Completely forgettable reign as champion. So not a fan of the titles going back and forth. It's funny, I accidentally wrote on Twitter that Miz retained the title because I'd completely forgotten that Ziggler won the title. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. not sure why the title was put on Ziggler in the first place if he was just going to lose it a month later back to The Miz. I don't get it. This one comes from King Blue. Hey Aaron, are they really building Rusev just to get beat by John Cena? Who do you think should beat Rusev? Please answer in video. Well, unfortunately, I think that is what is going to happen in all likelihood. When I think of guys that will end Rusev's reign of terror, it seems to me like John Cena is your best option. Not really saying he's your best option. If it was my choice, I would have the next top guy beat Rusev. If Roman Reigns is still going to be pushed at Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and wins the title, after WrestleMania, him versus Rusev would be a good feud to do, and have Reigns be the guy that finally beats Rusev. That would be ideal booking in my opinion. But I could very well see Rusev losing to John Cena. I think that if I had to make a prediction, I'd say that WWE does that, and Cena will bring down Rusev just like he brought down Damian Sandow and almost Brock Lesnar at this show. All right, this one comes from Cold Stones, my man. Hi, Aaron. After revisiting Starrcade 97 on the network, I'm really convinced that this was the event that started the downward spiral of WCW. What are your thoughts on this show, especially the controversial main event? Thanks, and keep up the good work. Well, I think that it was a very disappointing show. When I was watching back through the WCW pay-per-views on the network, throughout most of 97, you had some strong pay-per-views from WCW. You had very good undercard matches. Most of the time, the main event was a train wreck and not very good with the older guys. But you still had very good shows overall. With Starrcade 97, it just felt really flat. You had a bunch of matches that it seemed like they were thrown together at the last minute, with the exception of Hogan versus Sting. That was the one match that people were really looking forward to, and that ended up being one of the most disappointing main events in WCW history, and in wrestling history, period, because there was so much hype for that match, and they had built up Sting so strong, only to have Hogan essentially beat him with a normal 3 count, and I guess it was supposed to be a fast count from Nick Patrick, but somebody screwed something up. It was supposed to be Bret Hart coming out and stopping an injustice from a referee, but the whole thing was a complete disaster. And you had Bischoff versus Larry Zbyszko for control of WCW, and you had the big spot where Eric Bischoff was putting this object into his shoe, and he was going to kick Zbyszko in the head with the object, but the object flew out when he was in the middle of doing his kick. So, that whole sequence was ruined as well. A huge disappointment. I mean, that's really the only way to put it when it comes to Starrcade 97. All right, this one comes from JKins62. What would you say was the best and worst designed official WWE t-shirt in the past year? Well, I'd have to say the worst designed t-shirt, in my opinion, would have to be the Daniel Bryan t-shirts that they put out, like the one with the goat face, and that other one where it just says yes and a picture of him, the graphic. Both of those shirts are terrible in my opinion. I mean, I personally would not want to be caught dead in public wearing one of those t-shirts, and that's the thing about the shirts. I think that you want to be able to advertise the superstar, but at the same time you want a shirt that looks cool and has a unique design, and something where you're not going to be embarrassed wearing it in public. And, John Cena's shirts, even though they're very cartoonish and colorful and all that, I mean, usually WWE has really good designs for his shirts, and no wonder they're the best-selling shirts in the company. I think the Dolph Ziggler's had some good t-shirt designs. I like the new one that he has out. So those would be the best ones in my opinion. And I like Brock's shirt because it's just kept simple. It's not something that's embarrassing to wear in public. It just says eat, sleep, suplex, repeat. I'm fine with that. Perfectly acceptable t-shirt to wear in public. All right, this one comes from WWE fan Dark Arrow. Hey Aaron, if Jeff Hardy returns to WWE, how will they book him? Could you see him being WWE champion again? I don't think so. I think that if Jeff Hardy does return to WWE, he'll get some kind of final run maybe similar to what Chris Jericho has been doing or RVD, but nothing beyond that. I don't see him coming back and being a top guy in WWE and being champion again. And I also think it's possible if WWE is interested in bringing back Jeff Hardy at some point, I think that they'll want to reunite the Hardy Boys in WWE and have them go for the tag team titles one last time. I think that that's more likely than Jeff Hardy being a singles champion again in WWE. And one more question here from Slow Motion Man. Hey Aaron, please answer in video. What are your thoughts on the way Test and China were handled and booked after Stephanie and Triple H got together? Well, I think China was booked well for a while. Triple H and Stephanie got together in storyline late '99 and were a real-life couple by early 2000. And China was booked pretty much strong up until the end of her run in WWE in mid-2001. As far as Test goes, I mean, WWE completely dropped the ball with him. He had so much momentum during that feud with Shane McMahon in that SummerSlam match. And then after the wedding angle, they put him in the faction with Trish and Albert, and his career just went down the tubes from that point. So WWE definitely failed to capitalize on the popularity that he had, and he never really gained the momentum back that he lost. All right, that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it on Facebook and Twitter. Let me know what you think about Night of Champions, what you thought about the show. Leave a comment, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. And I will see you guys next time for another edition of NoDQ&A video.